Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so let's just dive right into it. Walk into literally any computer science department right now, and you can feel this palpable anxiety just gripping the room. Junior developers are basically panicking. They're asking, is AI advancing so fast that human developers are going the way of the dinosaur? Well, today we're unpacking the reality behind what I'm calling the illusion of the AI takeover. To set the stage here and to show you that we aren't just burying our heads in the sand about how powerful AI has become, let me throw a number at you. 99%. One of the working software engineers we sourced for this analysis currently writes an astounding 99% of their code using AI models, specifically tools like Claude 4.5 Opus. I mean, they are relying on AI for almost every single keystroke. When you hear a statistic like that, it's honestly so easy to jump straight to the worst case scenario. And this brings us right to the massive elephant in the room, the central question of our explainer today. If an AI can write 99% of the code right now, does a human software engineer even have a future? Are we genuinely witnessing the final days of the coding profession? You know, it's a totally valid, terrifying question if you're out there dedicating years of your life to learning these skills.
Adding a whole lot of fuel to this fire, we're constantly hearing these fear-mongering statements from prominent tech leaders. You've probably heard the predictions that by 2025, companies are going to have AI that acts as a fully autonomous mid-level engineer. This creates a massive narrative that human coders will soon be entirely obsolete. And look, when the biggest names in tech are saying things like this, of course beginners are terrified, but we really need to look a little deeper at who exactly is making these claims.
Let's look at the financial reality behind these bold predictions, because there is a massive financial incentive driving all this hype. The companies and CEOs predicting an AI takeover, they are the exact same ones selling the AI tools. Meta has literally poured billions into Meta AI. Salesforce just hired 2,000 extra salespeople this year for the sole purpose of selling their new AI tool Agentforce. And NVIDIA? Their skyrocketing revenue relies entirely on selling the chips used to train these models. So of course they're going to be hyper-optimistic about AI's capabilities. They're the ones selling the shovels in the gold rush. To really get a grip on reality here, we absolutely need a paradigm shift. Saying AI will replace software engineers just because it can generate code is exactly like saying calculators are going to replace mathematicians because they can do arithmetic, right? A mathematician's job is not just crunching 2 plus 2. That's just a tiny mechanical part of solving complex theories. In the exact same way, typing out syntax is just one small fraction of what a software developer actually does every day. So if the job isn't just typing code, what is it? Well, software engineering is fundamentally about overarching problem solving. It's about identifying real business requirements. It's designing system architectures that won't totally collapse when a million people try to use them at once. It's debugging highly complex errors, testing, and managing the end-to-end deployment process. Typing out the code is literally just the final translation of all that problem solving. Code generation is simply a tool in a massive toolkit. It is not the entire job. Now, you might have heard of this trendy new term floating around called vibe coding. This is basically where you tell an AI to build an app and you just let it handle all the code generation without ever actually looking at or reviewing the code yourself. And honestly, vibe coding is fantastic for simple side projects. If you just want a quick prototype to show your friends or get some fast user feedback, it's great. But the real world of professional tech is a totally different beast. Because when we actually look at regular software engineering at tech companies, vibe coding hits some severe, hard limits. Production apps are deeply complex. You can't just open a professional app and click around to test it. First, you often have to get the application into a highly specific state. Then, you have to mock up supporting data. On top of that, imagine trying to track changes made simultaneously by 5 or maybe 10 other engineers. Trying to manage all of that through a chatbot without looking at the underlying code becomes an absolute nightmare. Inevitably, engineers always have to revert back to manually reviewing and fixing the code when the AI misunderstands the assignment. So the crucial point we have to understand is this. Code is not just an annoying obstacle standing in the way of building an app. It is the final product. Code tells you exactly, precisely, and concisely what the software is going to do. AI summaries can be super vague or overwhelming, but code is absolute. Working directly with the code remains the absolute most efficient way to get things done, to debug complex issues, and to ensure the AI hasn't completely hallucinated your instructions. But despite knowing all this, there is still a very real dilemma for students starting out today. They look at these tools and think, okay, well, if AI can write the code faster than me, why not just learn how to prompt AI and totally skip the hard work of learning to code? It's a really tempting shortcut, right? But honestly, it's a massive trap. We call this the beginner's trap. See, it is entirely true that AI can do what a human does in their first 6 months of learning. It can spit out basic syntax and build a simple to-do list app flawlessly. But the massive, complex architectural problems that tech companies actually pay you to solve, those exist in that 3 to 5 year expert range, the integrations where AI completely struggles. But here's the catch. You absolutely have to pass through that vulnerable 0 to 6 month beginner phase to actually become the senior developer that AI cannot replace. You can't just magically skip to being a senior engineer. And what really compounds all this beginner anxiety is the macro business environment. If you look at the media right now, you only see this hyper-focus on massive tech layoffs. They love a disaster story. But what they completely ignore is the actual industry reality, which is that the tech world has been quietly rehiring at an incredible scale. It's just that a company hiring engineers doesn't generate the same clicks as a massive layoff announcement. The data absolutely proves this. Despite all those layoff headlines, Meta has rehired thousands of people over the last few years. Google's media narrative was exactly the same, yet their employee headcount is currently near an all-time high. And get this, even OpenAI, the company literally building the AI that is supposed to take our jobs, is actively and aggressively hiring human front-end, back-end, and full-stack software engineers right now. Crazy, right? So, why are they all still hiring? Well, it comes down to the corporate growth incentive. The argument that AI makes engineers faster, so we'll need fewer of them, completely misunderstands how capitalism works. Tech companies are financially rewarded by Wall Street for revenue growth, not just for saving a few bucks by shrinking their staff. If AI makes their 1,000 engineers twice as efficient, a tech company isn't going to fire 500 of them. No way. They are going to keep all 1,000 engineers, use that massive efficiency boost to build twice as many products, launch twice as many features, and drive their revenue through the roof. Because of this fundamental business reality, the survival blueprint for your career is crystal clear. It is a huge mistake to think you should abandon development to just learn AI prompting. A prompter will never, ever be able to compete with an experienced software engineer who knows how to code and uses AI as a superpower to work 10 times faster. You absolutely must learn core coding skills alongside AI proficiency. They go hand in hand. Look, the tech industry has literally always demanded constant learning. 10 years ago, it was mobile apps, then it was crypto, and now it's AI. The only true job security is being a relentless problem solver. So as you step back into your own work and navigate this shifting landscape, I want to leave you with this question. How do you plan to use AI as your collaborative partner today, rather than fearing it as your replacement tomorrow? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.